Hellraiser 5 Inferno is a film that came out in the year 2000. It's the first direct-to-DVD sequel in the Hellraiser franchise. I know. This movie is directed by Scott Derrickson, and the plot is you see this detective who is an absolute scumbag. He's an asshole, he's a fucking jerk, and there's nothing about this guy that you like. He gets this case because someone that he knew from high school is murdered. At the murder scene is, you guessed it, that puzzle cube. He takes it, he fucks around with it, and it, in many ways, destroys his life.
All hell is about to break loose.
Is this even a Hellraiser movie anymore? And I'm not even talking about the lack of Pinhead, because you see Pinhead maybe twice in this movie. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about what this whole movie is about and stuff that actually happens in this movie. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like I said, this detective, the main character, is a fucking asshole. You don't like him. He's a detective that doesn't follow any of the laws. He always carries around this thing of coke that he just constantly sniffs whenever he wants. And when he goes to the murder scene, he takes all of the money from the victim's wallet. Really? And then he cheats on his wife on a daily basis, and you see him go off with this prostitute. And because he fucked around with the cube, accidentally opened it, which, is it me, or is this cube way too fucking easy to solve? The hooker he slept with died, so he forces his partner to clean up the hotel room scene of his fingerprints so that he can't be linked to this murder. And you're like, wow. And if that's not worse, later on he reveals that he placed his partner's cigarettes and just certain things of his, certain belongings of his, at the scene, so that if his partner ever told on him, he'll lie and just say, well, see, his stuff is really at the scene. It was really him that did it. This fucking detective, this main character of ours, is such a fucking douchebag that I want Pinhead to destroy this guy from the inside out.
Welcome to hell.
And in many ways, he does that. There's a scene where you find out, I guess, it's a dream sequence. So I guess now these are Nightmare on Elm Street movies where Pinhead is Freddy Krueger, because the detective constantly has dreams of just weird shit going on. Like, first dream is he sees these two Cenobites, females, and they go up to him and they start like rubbing his chest and rubbing up on him. Then he starts getting into it. And then they go through the skin of his chest and they're rubbing like the inside of his skin. But he doesn't react. He's still like into it and moaning and stuff. And I'm like, really? Is he about to fucking hook up with some Cenobites right now? Or he'll have a dream that someone he loves and is close to him will get killed. Then he wakes up and it hasn't happened yet, so he has to rush and stuff. And I'm like, when did the Hellraiser movies turn into this? This is literally like Nightmare on Elm Street meets Final Destination meets, oh yeah, let's throw Pinhead in there for a couple of scenes. And that's another thing that pisses me off, is that this movie brought back Doug Bradley. This guy has played Pinhead for now 5 movies. Why would you even call this a Hellraiser movie if you're not going to have Pinhead in it this much? Why? I criticize the first 2 films for their lack of Pinhead, but at least those movies, the atmosphere of that, felt like Hellraiser. Whatever that is. If this wasn't a Hellraiser movie, if like it didn't have Hellraiser on the title, would this movie work? I don't fucking know. I don't know. It wouldn't work for me. I still thought it was stupid. I didn't care for the plot and how this detective was chasing down this serial killer that he called the Engineer, and he was looking around and the Engineer would cut off fingers and leave him at murder scene, or how the detective wasn't trusting anyone in his life and he was going crazy and he was seeing images and visions of these creatures, people getting killed when they haven't gotten killed yet. I just was sitting there like, oh, is this movie intentions to drive me crazy as well? Because I'm almost there. I didn't even want to mention this because I don't want every review to spoil the ending of these, but I have to talk about this. When you see that his family gets killed, and that the engineer is Pinhead, which, duh, didn't figure that out. He finds out that he is now forced to relive this chain of events of his life falling apart, crumbling apart. Now forever. It's like Groundhog's Day. And he's now doomed and damned for the rest of his life to just relive everyone he loves being killed. And yeah, that's tragic. That should be sad. And it's one hell of a downbeat ending, but not only does it suck, I hate downbeat endings to horror movies, but two, this character was such a fucking asshole, such a douchebag, that I don't care. I don't care that he's reliving this every day, which might sound messed up, might sound cold and mean, but honestly at this point, I'm emotionless. I don't care. I don't have feelings anymore, and that's because of this film. I can't even imagine just how much worse these direct-to-DVD sequels get, but something tells me I'm close to finding out. So if you couldn't tell, fuck Hellraiser 5, Inferno, you know Pinhead having motherfucker direct-to-DVD shitty piece of shit movie. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Part 5 later.
Hellraiser Inferno.
No!